Here we are then, back with another property finance tip. My name's Kevin Wright, and this week I'm going to be talking about one of the most common questions that I get asked about mortgages. And that is, if we buy a property below market value, can we refinance it at the full market value, even if we have done no work to it? I must get asked this on a weekly basis. So to check out why that's going to be a problem, keep watching. Okay, so the situation is, for whatever reason, usually the seller's motivated or something like that, but reasonably nice property, doesn't need any work doing to it, maybe a bit of light touching up, bit of paint, maybe a bit of extra flooring, but really minimal stuff, if anything. So you can buy this below market value. How much is going to vary deal by deal. So the question is, can we refinance it at full market value? So for example, you can buy it at 150, but properties that are around in the same road, adjacent roads, have sold for, let's say, 200,000. So, I mean, I'm giving you some numbers there, but it doesn't really matter what the numbers are. It's just illustrative of that. So, using those numbers, the question is, can I buy this house that's really worth 200? Can I buy it for 150 or even 180? It doesn't make any difference. But can I buy it below its true worth, do nothing to it, wait some time, even 6 months or maybe a bit longer, and can I refinance it at the value of 200? Because that's what it's worth. You know, I've got sold comparables that's what it's worth. So that's the question I get asked, I say, probably on a weekly basis. So what's the answer? And the answer, unfortunately, is no, you can't. So let me explain why this is a problem for mortgage lenders. It always helps if you can put yourself in the shoes of a mortgage lender's valuer. Now, mortgage lenders' valuers are pretty conservative kind of people. Most people know that. Most investors know that. What most investors don't know, certainly don't know judging by the frequency I get asked this question, is mortgage lenders' valuers do not consider buying cheap as a valid reason to increase the value of a property. They don't care what other properties are sold for. They care about what you've done to a property since you've bought it to add value. So to get a valuation above a recently purchased price of a property, what lenders, valuers recognize is tangible improvements to the property. Most commonly, it's going to be a refurb and more than just a coat of paint and a bit of flooring, more substantial. Getting some sort of planning approved is another common way of doing it. Even if you don't carry out the work, just getting the planning that permits you to do the work can increase the value. But usually it's some sort of refurb. It could be a conversion as well, of course. But all of these things are tangible improvements to the property. Now, mortgage lenders' valuers will consider that to be a valid reason to increase the price over purchase paid. But what they don't consider a valid reason is buying cheap. But buying cheap in isolation, buying below market value and doing nothing of substance to the property. Now, you can buy below market value and make tangible improvements, that's fine, because you're still making the tangible improvements. So if you link buying below market value or buying cheap with tangible improvements, put the two together, now you've got the recipe for an uplifted value. No improvements, no reason to uplift the value. And this is where a lot of people's deals fall down, because they can find a property, whether it's a single property or a portfolio of property or a block of flats or any of these sort of deals that I get sent to me on a regular basis, where they can buy it cheap, but they can't do anything to increase the value. Now, you can buy it cheap, do nothing to it, and then try and sell it on again at a price higher than you paid for it. And if you can make some profit or margin out of doing that, well, there's nothing wrong with that. But to be clear, the issue is that you're not going to recycle your cash back out of a property, which of course is what many investors want to do. It's a recycle your cash, buy a refurb, refinance, or in this case, buy don't refurb, refinance, because this is what we're talking about here. We're not talking about BRR, we're talking about BDRR, buy, don't refurb and refinance. So BRR can work, BDRR doesn't work, certainly. So if you're watching this video and you've been puzzling about the answer to this question, here you have it. So if you found this useful, I pop up every week with a little tip like this. So click that subscribe button. I'd love to see you coming back week after week and actually look back through some of the other videos. You know, there's dozens and dozens of videos on here that you might find useful if you found this one useful. Hang about a minute because I've got something else for you. If you enjoyed watching this video, did you know every Monday morning at 8:30 I do a live Facebook Q&A. So if you want to start the week with checking out some answers to your property finance questions, click the link here.